My goodness, this is a layup of a sale.
That was not a typical call.
Yeah, this is a layup of a sale. He suggested that they meet on the weekend.
And a 99% to 80% of the people, right? So I always say there's 10 to 20% of people that are going to say yes to the first person they talk to because they're a lay down sell. There's 10 to 20% of the world that's going to say no to you because they're either working with somebody, they hate you, they don't like your name, your voice reminds them of an ex, whatever. It's the 60 to 70% in the middle that you have to have skills to get, which most people don't have. This is a lay down, bro. Like, she could have said anything. This is what most agents do. They ramble for 90 seconds, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to...
I think it's the confidence piece, the ability to say, you need to set the context for the meeting before asking for the meeting. So, has anyone actually sat down with you and walked you through the 3 most important things you need to know in order to win in today's market when buying a home? That's the context. And then we get the no, and then we ask for the meeting. You're listening to the #1 real estate podcast in the world. We talk with real estate professionals all across North America about their wins, losses, lessons, stories, help you win in your local market today. My name is Cody from Sheridan Street. I'm joined with Vikram Deol of the Real Estate Sales Academy. We are here, and today we are doing some call reviews. We've had the opportunity over the last couple of years. I've listened to thousands and thousands and thousands of call reviews across the last couple of years. We've been working in the real estate space, and I've learned one thing. Only 8% of agents are actively asking for an appointment. And that's one thing we're trying to solve for.
You got to plug it too. That's 8% of agents on a team. And these are not slacker teams. These are teams that are paying tens and thousands, sometimes more than that, every month for leads, for coaching, right? The basic coaching out there in the world, paying a sales trainer in their office, right? They have meetings. They're not slacker teams. Less than 8%. And I guarantee you, the more you guys get into it, now that you guys are tracking that number, it's probably going to go up because we're doing a lot more training for your people. But I guarantee you, if you go back into that number from the beginning of last year, and you guys, if you guys could hire a VA and just go through or you guys get some AI that can go through and see how many people actually ask for an appointment, I bet you it would be 4%.
That's what we're looking into. That's what we're looking into right now. And it makes sense. 8%, I think the stat is 87% of, realtors fail in the first 4 years. So the stat makes sense because
they fail probably in 2 years, but they keep their license active for 2 more, trying with part-time jobs, hoping that something changes.
The interesting thing is if you chat with a lot of the teams that are on CSU or a lot of the top producers, they understand that they back up the actual stats and the tracking a little bit more. They go conversations to appointments, appointments to, a met appointment, so appointment set to appointment met to list it, contract signed.
We got a little bit more granular with our ISAs and our sales team. We would track how many hours of prospecting they did a day. Yeah. Right. Because that's a leading indicator, right?
Yeah.
Appointments.
The hour prospecting.
Yeah. So it was a minimum of 2 hours a day. That was, if you're an in-house ISA that was being on my payroll, then it was 8 hours a day. Right.
Yeah.
But if you were a sales rep on my team, and you didn't have to do it, you just weren't going to be on my team. Right. Yeah. So we tracked how many role plays did they show up a week? How many hours of prospecting they did? How many contacts they made. A contact would be like, hey, Cody, what's up? Go to hell, click, hang up. How many conversations, the way we used to do conversations was a super cute dog running around in this coffee shop. It was a 2-minute conversation because I know that fundamentally, if you get to that 2-minute mark, right, and you're having a decent flow, you have an opportunity to book an appointment because the person's guard's down. Then we went from that to how many appointments, right, they set. How many people showed up? Because a lot of people set appointments, but it's just because the person wants to get you off the phone. So how many people showed up? How many people signed an agency with its listing or buyers? And then how many deals you closed? So we started it as you start to track, you don't need to track every metric right out the gate, but you want to build to that 9 metrics.
Here, let me just show you kind of what we're tracking right now, and then we'll go into some call reviews. So here's an example of kind of the things that we track, based on reaching
Scroll down a little bit.
Yeah. Give me 1 second here. So, these are some of our tracking mechanisms that we do. Again, 3,100 Vici calls made, Vici appointments, 17 appointments. So he has a 12% conversion based on his conversations made. And then we break it down further. It's like not interested, callbacks, follow up in future, disqualified, GHL calls made, GHL appointment. Like if you're going to have an ISA, you need to go super granular with
you're paying
their
these
tracking.
People.
Yeah, we have so what we do.
If they don't want to do the tracking, then you need to get them off your team. They're just 100%. Not a good fit for your team. And that's okay.
This is another outbound, where we, again, we track the number of calls, number of appointments. You can see that Carolina, this is our high level, but you can see at the bottom here, we have our inbound tracking here as well, where we're tracking inbound calls that are being made. We have our outbound tracking, and then we have our overall stats that we have for the team. If you want to run a real estate team, we're in a real estate ISA team, you need to have metrics tracked. One of the biggest mistakes I see when people try to bring ISAs in-house is they're like, okay, here's a script, have at it. It's you haven't trained them, you're not tracking their conversations. You got to break things down.
You have no idea, right? What's actually happening in the world. So I have a part-time guy that works for me just a couple days a week, but every day that he works, he fills in his tracker and he sends it to me every night in Slack, right? He's not required to do so by law, but we have a tracker that we put in there, and it's how many dials, how many pickups, how many conversations, how many triages, how many appointments. Here's the crazy thing that nobody does in our industry. Most common objection: not a good time, get back to me, not willing to pay for anything, right?
Yeah.
So dial 67, pickups 10, conversations 10, right? So that's a good day, right? Calls offered 2, 1 appointment booked. So I know that he's having a challenge right here. And then I look at his, at the top of the conversation, I know he's having a challenge. And then it's not a good time, get back to me, not willing to pay for anything. So he's not able to get them to see their pain, right? If you can't get them to see their pain, they're not going to pick up. So I know right out the gate that what he's saying and doing doesn't work because we track the metrics.
Yeah.
Right. That's our in-house ISA guy.
Yeah. And we have our in-house, Colton is one of our in-house ISAs that we work with. And, he has a 12% conversion, but this is why listening to calls, and we're going to play some calls. This is why listening to calls is so important. You can't not listen to calls. So,
and here's what I want you guys to listen to. All right. I want you guys to score this call on a scale of 1 to 10. Right. And I want you to score her tone. Okay. Number 1 is tone. Was she curious? Was she professional? How would you rate her tone? And we're not going to say anything until we get to about 60 to 90 seconds. We're not going to say anything because I want you to rate her. So Cody, we just got to be silent and listen. 60 to 90 seconds will go. I want you to listen to her tone. Was she somebody who you would want to talk to? I want you to listen to the pace. Was she pacing the conversation? Right? Was she in control of the conversation? And was she being conversational, right? Or did it feel more like an interrogation? Scale of 1 to 10. And if you guys want to play along with us in the chat, or on YouTube or wherever you're listening, if they have a chat function, or a comment section, rate her tone 1 through 10, 10 being the highest, pace, and was she conversational or was she interrogational? If she's interrogational, it'll be a 1. If she's conversational, it'll be 7, 8, 9, 10.
Here, let's play it.
My name is Go. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for asking. So I hear you're looking 2-bedroom, 2-bath around Ridgewood, Oradell area. Can you tell me a little bit more about your search?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm not really looking right now. I would ideally be looking sometime towards the end of this year. And I think I would want to stay within the Bergen County area. And a minimum of a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It would be my first time, purchasing a home. Open to condos, townhouses, or just regular houses as well. But I would like to keep it within an hour's commute to New York City. I definitely don't like Central Jersey or South Jersey. I do want to steer clear of those areas, but Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, like,
up to what price?
so I think the most I would be able to afford would probably be around like so I can like 800,000, but I was telling the other lady I think probably something under 100,000 would be like most easily affordable for me.
Okay, of course. Yeah, we want to make sure that any home you commit to, you can easily make your payment so it's enjoyable and
So that's a minute 40 plus this particular call is like a live transfer from Cody's call center. So this was a lead that this lady either generated or her company, her team has generated. We're probably 4 minutes into the call because she had a couple of minutes call with this guy had a couple minute call with your ISA team. And now she's got 1 minute and 40 seconds into the call. So before we move any further, I want you guys to write down, how would you rate her tone? How would you rate her conversationalism? How would you rate her pace, right? How would you rate the opening of this call, right? Like, would you want to talk to her? Does she sound like everybody else? Does she sound differently? What were the questions, right? Are we asking the right questions at the beginning of the conversation to build trust, rapport, influence, and then eventually get a sale? This sale here would be an appointment. Ask those questions of yourself real quick. And maybe go back and hit pause and go back and listen to her call again. What did you like about this call, Cody?
I personally like the fact that the prospect was super open. The prospect
it was a pretty easy prospect.
This was an easy prospect. Here's what I want. Here's where it's located. Here's my timeline. Right. Here's my budget.
Here's my budget.
you have like everything that you need. And like, for me, like this, I don't know if this actually went to an appointment or not.
It doesn't matter.
It actually did go to an appointment. She did ask the game plan frame. So
did she get the appointment?
You got the appointment on this call.
Okay.
So I think that like the power in these types of calls is the fact that, there is always things that we can do better. And this is why we listen to our calls. Like in this.
So out of her tone, did you like her tone? How would you rate her tone 1 to 10?
1 to 10, I would give her probably
across
salesy
or
I didn't mind
aggressive.
I didn't mind her tone. I would say like 6.
Yeah, me neither.
6 to 7. I think their tone was good.
Yeah.
Like she was asking.
I think her tone was good.
I think her tone was good. How about you? Like, what would you rate her? I would rate a 6 to 7. I would probably give her a 7 on tone.
I'd probably give her like a 6. She was asking the standard questions. She could have been a little bit more curious, right?
Yeah.
She could have been a little bit more curious with her tone. So like, hey, like I'm a little bit more curious about like, right? And if she would have asked here's the crazy thing. When you go curiosity tone, your questions become more curious and you figure out why they're moving.
And you said this a lot, like, I'm just curious. And I say a lot, like, hey, I'm just so I can see things through your eyes. Like that, they're the bridge phrases that you ask when you're on a call with somebody help you lean in to ask better questions. Because for me, like, I would have went to a more emotional based question. And like we teach our agents to do this because they already have the important criteria. So there was an element.
Your agent already got like, what are you looking for? What is your time? Yeah. She already got that basic stuff. So now it's like the why questions, right? Now you don't necessarily might want to like, why are you looking? But you could be like, what's important about 12 months? What's important about being an hour away? What's important about, staying under this price point? What's important? Like you told our agent that you're somewhere in the 600 to 800. Like what's important about finding a 2-bed, 2-bath for you right now?
And I think that it's also the prospect, like, it's like, I think, we chatted about this yesterday in one of our sales training, where we chatted about like understanding the context for what they're saying. I think one of the things we lack here is context for why 12 months, context for why the $600,000 to $800,000 budget. Because you and I understand, okay, and many agents understand the fact that, okay, a $600,000, what is the payment on a $600,000? Are we buying the payment or are we buying the price of the property? Yeah. So I think the context for understanding that, like the vast majority, especially this sounds like a first time buyer. So does he understand the context for how much a $600,000 home cost monthly?
Probably. I mean, he probably understands because,
I don't know. I don't know.
I think I think when you're in that $600,000 to $800,000 range, you tend to have a little bit more details about things. So you've been on like a mortgage calculator, so you have like a range. You've checked out Zillow's calculator, so you have an idea of what the payments are going to look like. But I don't think he understands why he's waiting for 12 months versus why he should be looking now, right?
Totally.
So you could so what's important about the 12-month mark for you? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. Yeah. And I guess, are you aware of what's going on in the market right now? Well, no, not really. I'm not really in the market, so I'm not really following it that much. Okay. Would it be okay if I shared with you a little bit about what's happening in the market? And then you could go into like, what's happening in the news, the market, the multiple offers, right? You can now ask what's important about the 12-month time frame, what's important about moving out of his mom's house or his girlfriend's house, or like getting the house together, right? Like, what's important about that more than like the two beds, 2-bath. That's something you can get in the consultation. The reason why agents ask that question though, is because they want to set you up on a drip, because they think in their head that if they put you on a drip, they won. Oh, I got his email address. I got him on a drip. He agreed to opening the drip, but you didn't get a moral contract that if he sees a property he likes, he's going to contact you.
Bingo. That's I would say that's
why they're on
time. Talk a little bit more about moral contracts, and talk a little bit more about getting people to actually agree to potentially that moral contract of potentially working together. Because I know that's something you teach inside of the Real Estate Sales Academy. So I just want to make sure that we stop here for a second and we understand the context of what a moral contract is.
So a moral contract is just a verbal agreement, right? Whether you call it a moral contract or you call it a verbal agreement, but it's a verbal agreement that if we do this, you do that. Right? Look at this puppy over here. Oh my God, this dog's so cute. If we agree to set you up on a drip campaign because you're not ready to meet right now and you're truly a 12-month buyer, and we've gone over the inside of the call, we've talked now because now you're serious. Like, no, we're really not into it. Great. Now you talked about what the ramifications of waiting are. And they say, we understand, we're okay with higher price points, like we're okay with the higher possible this, and that, whatever their concern are, they say they're okay with it. And you've gone through the DHIS, the disarm, humanize, and isolate, and solve method, right? So that you've had a two-way conversation about what the ramifications of waiting versus buying now are. Right now you would say, okay, great. So the next step is we're going to set you up on our internal search, not a drip. Our internal search. Our internal search is where you're saying that you want a 2-bed, 2-bath, you want this, you want that, you want this. I'm going to go out personally and I'm going to look for homes, and I'm going to set you up in our automated system as well. That's going to automatically send you properties. If you find a property that you like, what I need you to do is I need you to heart it or text me, hey, Vic, I liked 123 Banana Street. Is that something you're willing to do? If they're not willing to agree to that next step, they're not your prospect by any stretch of any imagination. But if they're like, oh yeah, no worries, absolutely, of course, why would I not tell you? And the reason why we do the heart thing is so that you and I are, even though you're not ready, I can start to build your buyer's profile.
Yeah.
So I know when you are ready exactly what you like, so we can just jump right into it and go find you the perfect home.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And they say, yes. If there's any no's, you handle that objection then and there. Well, actually, I'm working with this cool dude named Cody May over at Sheridan. I've been talking to him for a while. I really like him. Like, you seem pretty cool too. Oh, no worries. Has that other person has anybody actually sat down with you to share with you the 3 most important things that every new buyer or every buyer looking to buy in 12 months should know? No. Oh, that's where the game plan frame drops in again.
Totally.
Because he says, I'm kind of working with that person. He didn't say, no, I signed an agreement. That's my agent. Because if he said that, he wouldn't have had this 15-minute conversation with you anyways.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, I appreciate your call. I'm actually working with this dude from this company. Like, we're already in agreement. Like, I already signed something. They're going to tell you that in the first 90 seconds.
Yeah.
The moral contract is what gets you, right? It's what gets you the promise that they're going to take an action. And once we morally agree, once we verbally agree, once I commit to doing something, then it goes against my grain. Like, I tell you, I'm going to work out 5 days a week. When I don't work out 5 days a week, like in Nashville, I didn't work out 5 crazy times, but I went to the gym, I swam, and I did 4 days. And I was like, babe, I didn't work out 5 days. She's like, it's okay, babe. I'm like, it's not okay because I made it a commitment, right? So whether I do yoga or work out, that commitment that we make to ourselves is more important than everything else.
Yeah. Let's keep listening to this call because I want to give people an example of what, like, I'm pretty sure she asked, has anyone taken the time in this call?
I'm not paying anything.
Okay, that's actually perfect. So you can save up and maybe
It sounds like he's living with his somebody because he said, I'm not paying anything.
shortly. Seaside Park, they have nice apartments.
Palisades Park.
Did you hear how she's searching for something to say right there? Like she's scrambling for something to say, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to say she's trying to sell him on a neighborhood.
Yeah.
But I bet you we still don't really understand why he wants to get out of his mom's apartment.
Yeah.
But again, we have to look at the
but
prices
he's super nice
to go too high. But you can
and we're
find
still
really
talking about
nice
price.
Townhouse or condos. For a first-time home buyer, I think that's a great start. So what I want to do, I would love to meet with you. If you are available sometime next week, we can meet in Ridgewood at my office, and I can go over into details, what are the process. I know you're doing this first time, and then I'll walk you through each step that you need to go through. And I understand you're now looking right now, it's next year, but it's always good to
that was a good line. I understand you're not looking right now.
Come up. So when the time is right, then you're ready to
but she's rambling
move forward. And I will also set you up to get the list of homes so you see what's available, what are the price ranges. So when the time is right and we actually start going out and seeing those homes, you will know exactly what you're expecting.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I can I don't know if you're available on the weekends, but during the week is a little.
My goodness, this is a layup of a sale.
That was that was not a typical call.
Yeah, this is a layup of a sale. He suggested that they meet on the weekend. So on a can you walk us through really quick?
Yeah, I mean, like in a 99%, 80% of the people, right? So I always say there's 10 to 20% of people that are going to say yes to the first person they talk to because they're a lay down sell. There's 10 to 20% of the world that's going to say no to you because they're either working with somebody, they hate you, they don't like your name, your voice reminds them of an ex, whatever. Yeah. It's the 60 to 70% in the middle that you have to have skills to get, which most people don't have. This is a lay down, bro. Like she could have said anything. Like she rambled for 90 seconds, unfortunately. And this is what most agents do. They ramble for 90 seconds and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to.
I think it's the confidence piece, the ability to say I think one thing that you teach inside of the Real Estate Sales Academy, and we both teach inside of our different game plan frames is she missed the context. Like I always teach that you need to set the context for the meeting before asking for the meeting. So has anyone actually sat down with you and walked you through the 3 most important things you need to know in order to win in today's market when buying a home? That's the context. And then we get the no, and then we ask for the meeting.
So this guy would have been like, yeah. So has anybody actually sat down to share with you the 3 most important things that all first-time home buyers should be aware of when purchasing that new townhouse? No. Oh, okay. That could be a little problematic. And I know we called you out of the blue, but as a possible next step, if you're not opposed to it and you'd find it beneficial, what we can do is we can allow you to book in some time on our calendars, or we can book in some time on both of our calendars where we can actually go over the entire process, the funding, the inspections, what it takes to be competitive to win, right? You give them 3 or 4 things because it's not a lie. The 3 most important things, that's not a lie. That's true. That's your job as a buyer's agent.
Well, technically speaking, with the buyer presentation that you have right now, there technically could be 10 to 12. With the new presentation you're putting together, there's so many different things.
Just the offer process, how to write an offer, what a contingency is, what it takes to fund an investment or to fund the property. It's an investment at the end of the day. What it takes to fund, what it takes to show and look at properties the right way, right? If you don't set the context at the beginning, you're going to be showing when agents I showed them 75 houses. I was it's because your process sucked.
Yeah, that's your fault.
Because you didn't spend the 45 minutes up front. So you spent the 40 hours in the back. You
So
should
what are
show
the
3 to 7 houses.
What are the mistakes I see people often make because they don't do the buyer presentation, because they don't do the buyer consult? What ends up happening is there's no mutual agreements in the very beginning of
Totally.
pricing. So what she's trying to do in this call, the one thing I don't like is she's trying to figure out the price point on the call, where it's like, we already have an understanding of what the price point is. Let's get them to an in-person meeting, or at least to a Zoom meeting, and let's have a deeper conversation about like what we can actually afford. Like that, let's take them from phone call to Zoom, or phone call to in-person meeting.
When we used to coach with like Tom and Mike and everybody, like they're like always location, motivation, price, right? LP Mama, location, price. But if you get those, you're going to, I'm like, but what about like their reason that they actually want to buy something? Like, when does that become important? Like, what's their motivation? Like what why is that the third thing? Like, let's talk about like what's going to happen if they don't purchase? Like, so bro, like you want to buy in December, like why so in December? I want to save. Okay, cool. And what's the real like, dude, you're living for free? Like, why would you want to get out of that? It's like, dude, you're living for free. Why would you want to get out of that situation? What would cause a human being to want to get away from home cooked meals, laundry service,
really good.
Free rent? But doesn't that sound great right now? Like maid services. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, well, I can't bring a date over. I feel weird being up at night. Like, and he starts racking off the problems with living with mom. Oh, I'm 28 years old now. Like, you know, my mom's been so supportive of me, but now she's thinking about downsizing herself. So like, if I'm out of the house, she can downsize. It saves her $2,000 a month, right? I want to be closer to have my friends over. Blah. And he starts selling himself, and he's like, you know, maybe I'm not actually 12 months away. He's like, well, you know, I have like, you know, I thought I needed like 30 or 40% for the down payment. So that's why I wanted to save more. Oh, well, just, you know, you don't have to tell me, but what do you have for the down payment? Oh, I have 180,000. Oh, well, that changes
everything.
Should be more than, that might be more than enough. Have you actually talked to a financial professional? No, let's do this. Has anybody actually sat down to share with you the 3 most important things about, right? You don't need to go into the bedrooms and bathrooms, you guys. Like, you could talk about it lightly. Yeah. Here's what you want to ask the question about.
You already have that, especially with
us.
Well,
for those who don't, but for those who don't have it. So for those who don't have it, right? What does the 2-bed, 2-bath allow you to do? Like, I'm currently looking for a new apartment in Medellin, Colombia, right? And my girlfriend and I had this conversation. She's like, babe, why do you want such a big place? And she goes, why do you want I said, when my dad was 42, babe, he had $1 million home. He took care of 3 kids. He completely supported his wife. Our family would come over, and my mom's got a big family. We would have everybody in the home. We'd have big Thanksgiving dinners. Everybody got to hang out. Nobody was lack of space. Like when we go to my grandma's house, it was a small 3-bed, 2-bath small 3-bed, 3-bath house where it was beautiful that we all camped out. I said, but my dad provided a lifestyle, and I want to have a place for a guest to come over. I want to have a place for me to work, not in the bedroom, right? I want to have a place where, like, when Cody and his girlfriend and like a couple of our other friends come over, we have a beautiful dining space to entertain with a view. And I started going into it, and I was like, I really need to step my game up to find a beautiful place. And I was like, if your sisters want to come over and they want to use the hyperbaric chamber, like if you girls want to have like your own little space in the house so that you guys are comfortable while I'm working, like you girls have a spot in the house. And she's like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. It's what the 3 bedrooms does versus the 2 bedrooms that doesn't do. Because now I'm like, I need a 3-bedroom. And like, she just sent me a place, and she's like, hey babe, check out this spot. This has your hyperbaric chamber room. It has your office space. It has a beautiful background for your recordings. It has a space for me and my sisters, right? It has a place if your parents ever come, even though I know they're not going to, right? She's naming off all of the things that I wanted. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to get into this place even sooner.
Yeah.
Like, when you guys get that emotion out of the person, do you notice how everything shifts? Instead of like, oh, you want a 3-bed, 2-bath, what's your budget? Like the budget goes out the window. I'm like, man, even though I thought I was going to come get a cheap place in Colombia, I'm okay spending $3,000 or $4,000 a month because it's going to make me feel so much more accomplished, which is going to make me work so much harder. I'm going to, right. Did you feel a difference versus like, what are you looking for? 3-bed, 3-bath?
Yeah, 100%. You and I jam about this often. Like I am like, I call it chunk up, chunk down. Like chunk up is just sorting questions, but no one like, it's the curiosity that allows us to chunk down that actually gets down to the root cause of like,
chunk up is the logic, chunk down is the emotions.
The emotion. People are either running towards pleasure or they're running away from pain. There's one of two different things. Yeah. And once we understand that from a human psychology standpoint, we'll start to ask better questions.
You guys tell us, like, were these last 2 episodes, like, did you guys like this? Because what we're trying to figure out is our cadence. If like Cody and I do like some more tactical trainings, or do we bring on more guests? Because we've had literally a guest that covers almost everything in the world when it comes to real estate already. But I feel like we haven't had a lot of dialogue is Cody and I doing what we do best, which is training you guys on what we do. Like I teach psychology of selling, influence, and persuasion, right? In a non-sleazy, non-douchey, non-like salesy way. You teach people how to market. You teach people how to have better conversations through your ISAs, right? Like, do you guys just put in the comments below, because we do monitor our YouTube comments. What do you guys want more of? More of this? Because we could do like 2 or 3 of these a month, and then 2 or 3 interviews, which actually makes our life a lot easier, because Cody and I can jump on these all day long.
Yeah.
And we don't have to go find it. People or tell us, who do you actually like? Tell us, who do you want? And then we can go find those people.
Yeah.
Because we can say, hey, so-and-so wants you on our podcast. Yeah. Right. So tell us what you guys want in the comments.
DM us on Instagram too. I know a lot of people follow us on Instagram. Shoot us a DM on
Vikram
Instagram.
Or Codmay. So CODMAY or Coach VIKRAMDEOL.
The team can throw our handles right here below for Instagram. Throw them below.
So if people want to work with you, to take your free plug, if people want to work with you, if they need an ISA, if they have a database, how do they what should they do? What should be their next step?
DM on Instagram if the team can throw my link there below. If you want to chat about, essentially what we do, like fundamentally, we believe all conversion happens in conversation. If you agree with that, if you hold that belief,
if you don't talk.
Yeah, if you hold that belief, then reach out to us, because like fundamentally we solve for that. Like if you have a database, we help you set appointments. If you don't have a database, we help you build the database with leads, branded and exclusive to you, and we help you set appointments. So if that's at all interest to you, DM me the word on Instagram. I'll give you a word. Just DM me appointments and I'll reach out with next steps. And how about you, Vic? If somebody wants to learn more about Sales Academy and what you do.
Yeah, man. So we teach human psychology, human persuasion, and human behavior. All right. So we teach you how to use the fundamentals that we're all born with to work with your prospect, the human in front of you, in a loving, connecting way that you could take an online lead, you could take an expired lead, you could take any human being out there and turn him into a raving fan. I grew up in Seattle. I didn't grow up in Seattle, but we sold $250 million+ in Seattle. And we didn't do it by accident. We do it because we learned the psychology behind conversations. That's why I sold millions of dollars of Cutco knives. That's why I've been able to train hundreds and hundreds of agents and 18-year-old Cutco sales reps how to outsell everybody. It's because we understood how the human mind works. And when you understand how the human mind works, then you understand the frameworks, the patterns, you understand how to listen, how to communicate, and it's never sleazy. Like, our clients come in and they're like, yo, you really want me to like say oohs and ahs and ums? Like, that's crazy, Vic.
Yeah.
All right. You've had more success than we've had. I can't believe I'm doing this. And they come back 3 days later and like, oh my God, I booked 4 appointments. Yeah. I'm like, is that good or bad? Because I don't have context. Like, I haven't booked 4 appointments in a week since 1990, never. And I'm like, okay, so that's good. And they're like, yes, Vic. Like, we can't believe it. Like, people are calling us left and right. People are saying, thank you. We're excited to meet you, versus agents. You shouldn't be excited to meet your prospect. Your prospect should be excited to meet you, because you're going to offer them something of value. We have the listing presentation. We have a buyer presentation, right? So you'll know exactly what to say and do inside of the buyer and the listing presentation. So Cody sets you up with a warm inbound call. I teach you how to take that call and actually convert to a beautiful appointment. We then have a beautiful buyer presentation or buyer consultation. The seller or the buyer says, yes, we want to work with you. You know exactly what to do. Here's the cool thing. As you build out your presentation, the way that I teach it it actually teaches you how to sell and be a better agent, because you're going to go through, you're like, oh my God, I never did this. I never did this. I never did that. Oh my God, never did this. And we're going to help you create all of those processes, everything that you wish your team or your broker would have taught you. It's just step by step. So for you, the next right thing is you can just down below, if you're interested and you feel like this might be something you're lacking, these skills, you can go to Instagram, Coach Vikram Deol. You can send me the message, just say appointment, and I'll send you a calendar link to book on my appointment. And then the other thing you can do is you can, if you're interested in like checking out what Real offers, right? Because Real is an insane brokerage where there's, I think, 11 ways now to make money. And we've just had some of the biggest brokerages and independents and teams and solo agents come through. Just send me a message that says Real, and I'll privately send you a message where nobody will know. And we could talk about that opportunity as well.
Well, I want to say thank you for tuning into another episode of the RE Agent Podcast. If you got any value, we ask that you leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. We will see you soon.